Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. Welcome to this week's episode. We're going over our photo review this week. Last week we did our theme, which was a lot of fun. Everybody seemed to like it. And this week we're talking about the images that we've been issued the challenge, or we have issued the challenge for over the past 2 weeks. Of course, with me is Navi Nhum. Navi, how's it going this week?
Great.
Awesome. Gabriel will be showing up shortly, and he's just putting in a shower right now. So he's a little bit tied up, which is a good thing because he'd smell really bad if he didn't do that. So I don't know why I go there. So early in the show, too. Like, what's wrong with me? Anywho, so the photo review. We've got all these great photos that people have submitted for our photo challenge this week, and thank you, everybody, for doing that. The photo challenges was In Between and Loud, 2 challenges. It was a lot of fun. Navi, you made a photo this week, which is pretty awesome, for Callie and the Disney thing.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was awesome. Okay, so I wish you could share it. I don't have it ready, but you made this photo with your niece. So you always make these amazing shots with your niece involved. And this one was for a Disney prize?
It was for, so Breakfast Television was having, or I think they still are, having a contest for winning a trip to Disneyland. So Callie and her mom have been entering every day, submitting a photo based on whatever theme they had. And, if you get chosen, you win a trip to Disney World. Awesome, right? So, I mean, we found out later that it is at random, so I could have photoshopped my face onto anything I may had a chance to win.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's at random, so...
so it wasn't even like the quality of the photo that they were picking it on?
Not necessarily. I think because there were so many entries that it really wouldn't have mattered. But anyway, so the theme was classic Disney. So I had, I think, a day to think about this because Mandy, Callie's mom, just messaged me and was like, you're creative, can you help us with a photo? I'm like, sure. So I went out and bought the Snow White dress and everything and got her to be Snow White, and she's 5, so she was all down with that, and I bribed her with some candy apples and great things. And how much fun should we be having?
That was awesome.
Yeah,
I actually have it up here. I'm going to try and do a screen share. My computer, in case I disappear, by the way, Navi, just stay here, and I might be back within a half an hour, because my computer has totally been messing up on me, and the hard drive has crashed. I had to replace the hard drive, and it's still freezing up and shutting off. So if I disappear, if I'm not back within half an hour, just go home. It's over.
All right.
So I'm going to try and do this screen share here and show that photo that we're talking about. Oops, I'm hitting the wrong button.
So, right. I mean, shooting or photographing a 5-year-old, at midday when they've been out all day was kind of tricky because I kind of knew she'd be a little bit tired and maybe a little cranky, but we made it through. I think she, at a point, did start crying, so we had to take a little break. Then her mom gave her some candy, and we were good.
Candy apple.
Yeah. No, she actually had like a strip of candy. So. Oh,
okay. Is the photo up?
Yes, I see it.
Very cool. Well, there's your shot, Navi. Very well done. I remember you were working on making the composite. You've got her foot on an apple, and
yeah.
Very well thought out. This is a great example, and I'm glad I actually brought this up because this goes to show how you had a vision for an image. You actually chose a specific image for the background. You made the photo of Callie. You even went so far as to go to a store to buy the candy apples. You had a theme in mind, and you went out and you made a photo for the theme. It wasn't so much a, hey, this one applies.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the reason
the pose wasn't really, like the final photo wasn't really what I was imagining, which I figured would happen because kids are so unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked. So, but I knew what sort of lighting I wanted, what kind of background I wanted, so I lit for that to make sure that during the composite it worked. So I'm pretty happy with the result, and I think if anything, we get to hang out and get a funny photo. So
yeah, you always have a good time when you're with her.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I bring up that point about making the photo is we want to remind everybody with our photo challenges that we issue, that's really what we're hoping for, is that you have a vision for the theme and you actually go out and create that photo. Sometimes we get photos in and, in the back of our minds we're thinking, is this something that, you were just driving down the road, you saw something that would be cool, you took a shot of it, or, were you looking through some pictures that you had taken on a photo walk and thought, yeah, this applies to the theme. they're all fine and dandy. By all means, go ahead and do that if you want to. But the whole point of a photo challenge is to challenge you and to get you out there and, not just taking pictures, but actually creating an image for a theme. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're working on future photo challenges as well. A lot of you already do that, and if I touched a nerve, I'm sorry. Anyway, it's all good.
Well,
so
if you're out and you see something that applies to it, and you kind of make it work. But it's different if you're just snapping away for whatever, and then you come back and then you're sorting through your photos and be like, oh, this I guess works. So let's submit that. So I think that's different than being out there, seeing something that works for it, and then making it happen. Right. So you don't necessarily plan for it necessarily.
Yeah, good point. Good point for sure. Now, why are we qualified to do a photo review show? Some people have asked me that, like, why are we qualified? We're just a bunch of photography lovers. Well, the reason we're qualified is because we actually issued the challenge. So if we issued the challenge, then we should be the ones to give you an opinion. Now, in doing so, we want to make sure that we're giving you a good opinion, not just, oh, we don't like your picture, or, move along, nothing to see here. So our goal is to keep a very positive approach, offer some suggestions on potential room for improvement. And also, remember, guys, this is a live show. So if you have any questions, we've got the Q&A app open. It's right on the side, at least this side for me, I can see it. If you don't see the Q&A, click on the left side of your screen, find the Q&A button, hit click, and then you'll be able to ask us questions. We'll see them pop up right away. Even if you just want to say, hey, we're watching the show, hi guys, then go right ahead and do that, and we're watching that now. Big things also happened for me this week. Actually, just this morning, I shot an event for the Vaughan Film Festival. I talked about this. It was awesome. These guys are just pros. The Vaughan Film Festival is a short film festival, but an international short film festival based out of Vaughan, Ontario. What I love about these guys is, A, they're extremely professional, as I said. When they say they're going to be somewhere, they're there, on time, early, on the ball. Everything they tell you to do is bang on. They know exactly what to get and what to ask for and how to ask for it. Just really cool guys to work with. But beyond that, the festival itself is awesome. One of the things that they do is they have schools. They have a whole category for local schools to submit short films. It's all a short film festival. So last year, all the local schools that submitted these short films, not all of them won, but today they actually screened all of the short films from the students at Rainbow Cinemas in the Promenade Mall, and that's what I was there for. I was just shooting the event, and they had students come in to watch these videos. It was very cool, and it's inspiring. You have all these young students who are looking at their neighbors.
It's cool to see your work on this huge giant screen. As opposed to you're viewing with other people, and you get to see and feed off their reaction as well. So that's nice.
Absolutely. And what's even better, what I really got a kick out of, obviously not every video or every movie is Spielberg. There's good and there's bad and there's shorter and longer. But what I really thought was cool was the imagination these guys had, using their environment, looking around these kids that are going to school. They use their school as the environment, and then they have these little stories that they're telling, and it's just well done, well thought out, and you can tell they're not using super expensive equipment, and they're making great stories. And this is really what I'm hoping we can accomplish. As Daytripper Photo, as a community, we don't need the most expensive toys. We don't need to have the best cameras in the world. But if we can think of a story and be able to convey that story in an image, that's magic. And that's why I love the film festival. That's why I love Daytripper. That's why I love working with people like Navi and Gabriel, who are extremely creative people who love to try different things and think outside the box, and not afraid to tell you, their real opinion, which is very important in this world. Right, Navi?
Yes. I always loved Simon Cowell. He was my favorite guy because, he maybe didn't have the best way of expressing his thoughts, but he was honest about it. And, he was usually right and was probably thinking or saying what other people were thinking.
It's true, but it's hard to be a Simon Cowell, isn't it?
It's true. It's hard to be Simon Cowell and not have people hate you.
I guess he could deal with it. I mean, there are people that hate Simon, but
yeah, but he's also bajillionaire, so it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
He doesn't care. But I mean,
excellent.
Photography too. It's art. It's very subjective. So I think we've mentioned this a number of times before. But what we think of a photo is just our opinion. Like there could be a really great photo to somebody else, and we could hate it, or vice versa. But I think it's still important to give an honest opinion about the photo.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? Even if it's not a concrete opinion, sometimes we're just bringing things up to plant a seed, and that when you look at the picture, you think, well, maybe I didn't think of it that way. Maybe that's an interesting way to think of it. And then the next time you're out in that environment, you can bring that up in your own mind. Now, before we get too much into the photo review, I just really want to thank our sponsor, LensPen. These guys have been amazing since they've had their deal with us, where they give us these great products, these LensPen products that we can give away for our photo challenge. So today, the winner of our photo challenge is going to get a random magic lens pen box. Let's see what we have for our winner today. Today, it's going to... What's that?
You have like an endless supply.
Oh, almost. It's going to be a... Oh, Rogue. Where did that come from? This is just a magazine. This isn't actually a prize. So let's find... there we go. We'll give away one of the tablet and lens cleaner kits today. Awesome stuff. So... Also, remember to check us out on YouTube. If you are watching our show after the fact and you're watching on YouTube, click like, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, let them know that we're doing this silly little show, and tell the world. Where was that from? Tell the world.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. And if you want, join our Daytripper Photo community on Google+. That's where all the magic happens. When we announce our fun little things that we're doing, every time we want to go on a fun day trip, or just get a bunch of friends together to go shooting somewhere. Like this Sunday, a bunch of people are going shooting in a very cool place, and if I told you, I'd have to kill you, so I won't do that. Yeah, good stuff. And just a reminder, if you don't see that friendly face at the bottom of the screen here, Gabriel, that's just because he is working at home right now, and he's trying to take care of some stuff at the house. He's got somebody there helping him install a shower, and he'll probably be a little while, but he says he'll show up when he can, and we will hopefully see him. All right, Nastar, you ready to get to it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to start off. There's 6 people submitted photos for our challenge this week, which is pretty cool. And actually, it was 2 weeks. And don't forget, the challenge that we issue this week, you will have 2 weeks to work on. So if you want to take the first week and mull it over and think about what you want to do, and then submit your photo for the second week, by all means, go right ahead and do that. There's no concrete rules for that. So. Okay, so I tell you what, Nav, if you want to do a screen share.
Word.
Do you meta?
Oh it, wait, oh it. Pam.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And let's just click this little button here. Okay, so again, the photo review that we're doing is to give you some really good opinions, help you understand some different things about your pictures, and maybe open your eyes to something that you might not have thought about. So hopefully we'll be able to do all that for you today. And there's my notes, and there we go. Okay, cool. Yes, I make notes. I want to be thorough. So this is Jennifer's shot. Now, the theme here is in between, and you can obviously see that there's things in between 2 trees. Now, this is a very literal translation of our theme. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, if you're trying to challenge yourself, there's other options that we can try and do as well. But what I think is really what I want to talk about with this shot is a couple really cool things. First of all, I think you did a great job using your telephoto lens to compress the distance between the tower and the school. This is a technique that a lot of people don't think about. By using a lens and zooming in all the way, you're basically flattening your depth of field down, and it almost looks like the tower is very close and right behind the school in the foreground. So that's a really good technique that you could use, is just by zooming in with a telephoto lens on something and getting that foreshortening of your depth of field.
They do, all those car blowing up shots when the person looks like they're right there, close to the car exploding, but it's really way back there. They're shooting with a super telephoto. Exactly,
or people holding the moon.
Right.
Right, it's that same kind of effect where they're standing back far, zooming in, and flattening that down. And I think it's really interesting to see that even with the aperture at f-ing is the biggest the aperture would be with that lens, there's still quite a bit of focus on both points, the school and the tower in the background. Now, to me, I'm interpreting that as the potential that you were standing far away. If you're watching, Jennifer, maybe you can let me know. You were standing far away from the school, and therefore quite a bit farther away from the tower. And when you're further from something, your depth of field is going to expand a bit too. So that's why you still have focus on both places. Just my thought. But, I mean, using the trees to border the photo is great. It's going to close off the side of the photo and keep your eyes focused on what's going on in the middle. Now, Nabby, you had a point about this. Maybe you can tell me what you were thinking.
For this photo, I like that, you know, the tower is pretty central in the trees. The green sort of pyramid, I guess, of the school there is that I find it quite distracting because it's such a bright color. And I realize that it, you know, I guess it kind of works for the theme as well, but because I can't really see all of it and the tree is sort of blocking it, I did initially consider that as, you know, part of the theme of the photo. And to me, it was just an object that was in the way and that was distracting. So I would have preferred it just seeing that water tower by itself. So I don't know if maybe you shot it horizontally or more cropped in or something, maybe a different way that the tower was sort of more of the main focal point. Because it's so bright, it's so blue, it's just like, I want to look at the water tower, but my eye keeps going back to this half-blocked greenish turquoise blue thing.
It's funny, you know, Nav, I always thought that it was the brightness that draws your eye to something. But I've since learned, and actually this is from Blake, having a conversation with Blake. Blake and I are both in the Arcanum, and there's a lot of lessons that we're being taught of finer art and so on. Blake really had a good point. He was talking to Ron Clifford, and Ron mentioned how it's not the brightness that's drawing your eye, it's the contrast, the difference in brightness between bright and dark, right? Was that a sneeze? Do I have to bless you?
That was a sneeze. You don't have to bless me.
Oh, God bless you. I have to bless you, or else demons will fly up your nose, and that's not
I'm Buddhist, it's fine.
Oh. Awesome. All right, I will never bless you again. So, yeah, it's the contrast, and that's really what you see is that bright roof with the green right behind it, so it stands out like crazy, and the trees and so on. So, would you
shadow
think
part of the tree too? It's like, you know, black almost on that bright green.
So even if you were to put like a couple fingers over the bottom of the shot and see just the top part with the trees, it's a different photo altogether, and that's kind of what you're saying, eh, Nevi?
Yeah. And
cool.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
all.
you can't quite zoom in far enough to show that, though, eh?
No, that's it.
That's it. All she wrote. All right, well, there you go. Those are my thoughts. Again, let's go over these very quickly. Very literal translation of the theme. The school and the water tower are both between the trees, so in between makes perfect sense. Using the telephoto lens and zooming into 135 mil, that's the maximum zoom. Compress the distance between the tower and the school, which is good. Using the trees to border the photo did keep your eye within the shot. However, having that bright contrast of the tip of the school in the front distracts you from the tower, and you personally, Navi, think the tower is the interesting part, the focal point of the shot.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really say it's the focal point because I'm still looking at this center thing here, but this is distracting here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, excellent shot, Jennifer, and thank you for submitting. Let's see, I think Jennifer's got another in-between shot.
Yes.
There it is. Okay, so again, another, pretty literal interpretation of in-between. Now, it's nice that the color of the kid's plaything in the center there does draw your eye. What's that called? Jungle gym?
No idea.
A kid's plaything. What?
A play park thing?
A play park?
I don't know. I don't kids.
I know. You and me both, kid. So, yeah, it's very bright, and that's going to draw your eye to it, the color and the reds and the blues and yellows. But there is something else drawing your eye away, and this goes right back to the point we were just making about contrast, right?
Yes.
There's that sign that's almost dead center, and right behind it is very dark tree. So there's dynamic contrast difference right there, and that's obviously all I'm seeing right now. So when we're giving an opinion, we also hope to give you a suggestion. So my suggestion for this, Jennifer, would have been to possibly step maybe 10 feet closer put the camera on the ground, on the top step. And maybe you'll be past that sign, and you'll be able to still get the in-between of the tree on the left and have the kids' plaything in the center. You're still going to get that same vision, but now that sign isn't going to be a distraction.
Right.
It's just a bit busy, yeah?
Because you have the sign, the trees, the grass, the pavement. You know, maybe a little bit less pavement, and if you want the focus there, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
To focus on. And plus, like this right now is sort of dead center, and that's why there's all this other stuff happening, plus the house in the back too, right? So.
And the fence between the house and that plaything.
Right. Yeah. So everything's between, that's for sure.
Lots of betweens. All right. Anything else to add there, Navi?
No, I think you discussed everything. Like this sign here again is what initially caught my eye, right? So I kind of saw this, and then I saw this afterwards when I think the point was to see this.
Right. And again, Jennifer, if you are watching right now and you want to add your 2 cents and fill in the gaps for us, by all means, go ahead, use the Q&A, and we will see that right away. All right, let's move along to her loud photo.
Your favorite.
All right, there is a joke there, kind of. There's a reason why I've been married for umpteen years and still no children. I'd like to have the maturity level higher than my child before I have one, which is one thing. Another thing is they're loud. And Jennifer, you hit the nail on the head. This, you can see that it's loud. Definitely the story is there. I'm very happy about that. It's a great concept for loud. There's actually another baby photo further on that's loud as well. And I do like your choice of lens for this. Now, my thought, though, this was the 35 mil. And you use the 35 f1.8, which I love that lens. The thing is, though, at f1.8, it's very shallow depth of field, and that particular lens has about a 1 foot minimum focus distance. Now, I'm not sure if you're closer than a foot here. You may be a little bit beyond that, but I'm thinking what ended up happening was your focus landed on the jacket and not on the face. And that's one of the key things when you're doing portraits, whether it's baby or people or whatever. You have to have that real sharp face. Now, it's funny. I was taking pictures of my cat earlier today, and yeah, I know, got to talk about a cat story at least once per night. So I was taking all these pictures, and I was using my 50 f1.8, and 90% of those was focused on her teeth, right in the very front. Now, she has pretty cool teeth. They're sharp, they're big, they're nasty, but I wanted the eyes. So the reason I couldn't get that to happen was because I was too close. She kept on coming toward me, and every time it would focus, it would give me where I didn't want focus. And also, the contrast was more here than here. It's very difficult to get sharp focus exactly where you want it with such shallow depth of field. So something you could try, possibly raise your ISO up a little bit more to get faster shutter speeds, and then close the aperture a bit. When you do that, you're going to expand your depth of field a little bit and bring a little bit more of that focus forward. That could be something. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think I see tears. I can't tell, but for a photo like this, to be able to see any tears like flowing down the face would have been a great little detail.
Okay, now on that point, no, Navi, like the real question here is, your kid's crying, and you're hovering over it with the camera.
Yeah, what do they know?
Click, click, click. It's okay, keep crying. Click, click, click. That's Die Hard. I love that.
Well, you're at it anyway.
That's right, hey? It definitely fits the theme.
I can just hear the piercing
my kid
sound of like the cry, the shout.
I thought driving in a car was supposed to calm kids down, though.
Maybe the baby's not in the car yet. It's just being suited up.
Maybe. Okay, so other than that, though, compositionally, I only have one tip because obviously this is a photo of the baby and it's in the baby seat. Oh, I keep cutting out?
You're kind of like slowing down.
Okay, maybe I'll just lower my bandwidth a little bit just in case. Much closer now. Anyway, what I was saying is that other than that, compositionally, I'd probably try and lose the top top part of that basket. Does that make sense, Navi?
Yep. You mean like all the basket or just the corners? You want it like more? Yeah, I can see that. So maybe cut it off here.
Yeah, right where the line of that that cloth there is.
Yeah. Get more focus on the face.
Yeah, and again, that's that contrast that's creating. It's drawing your eye up. Now, on one hand, you could say that that's bordering the top, and that's stopping your eye from leaving.
Right.
But you still have those little tips.
Right.
In the corners.
Yeah.
So either chop just below that, so you can leave the border in, which kind of works well, or a little bit lower down still. Food for thought. Food for thought. That's all that is. Anything else to add there, Navi?
Wah!
Well said, well said. All right, cool. So let's move along. I think Jordan's is the next shot.
Cute little dog.
That's not such a little dog there, Navi.
Cute dog.
Yeah, that looks like a Saint Bernard or something. Awesome. What a story in this dog's face, eh?
Yeah.
You almost read its mind. What a face. The way it's first placed, it looks like the dog's head is just kind of wedged in there. I do have some thoughts, though. Okay, so here's my thoughts on here. First of all, it looks like a rainy day, doesn't it?
Yes.
And on rainy days, it's usually fairly dark, right?
Yes.
So if I know that it's going to be dark, one of the first things I'll do is I will start to raise my aperture, or sorry, my ISO, just to get a little bit more light getting into that camera, right? And by doing that, that would give me a faster shutter speed. So if we check the EXIF data here, you have 1/80th of a second shutter speed. Now, I've talked about this a lot on day trips, photo day trips, is this small little rule in photography that if you're going to be hand-holding a lens and you're taking a picture of something that's alive or moving or potentially could, wave in the breeze, you want to have your shutter speed at least 3 times your focal length. So here your focal length was 60 millimeters. If you multiply that by 3, that's 180. So you would have a 180th of a second shutter speed, minimum. Now, in my brain, if I hold my camera up to my face and I'm about to take a picture and I know it's moving and I'm hand holding, the first thing I do in the viewfinder is I look at what is the shutter speed. If it's not what I think is fast enough, I can pretty much guarantee that no matter what I do, it's not going to be a sharp photo. It's just one of those things that I've trained myself for. Like if I'm shooting at 400 millimeters and I don't have a 1200th of a second shutter speed, I just put the camera down. Now, stabilization helps quite a bit, and there are going to be a lot of shots that you can save and do a little bit more with, and this is one of those shots, absolutely. It's a very cute shot, very an excellent story, but ultimately, if you zoom in there, Navi, is it real sharp?
Just here. It's just a little bit of motion blur over here.
Right, and we know it's motion blur because there's nothing in the shot that's any sharper.
Right.
So if the door of the car was sharp and the dog wasn't, then that could be focus, right? Back or front focus or whatever. But there's really no dedicated tack sharp spot. Now, doesn't mean it's a bad photo. Not at all. It's just something to think about, that if you're trying to make that extra sharp image, the shutter speed is what's going to stop the motion blur.
Mm-hmm. And even for this, if you wanted to still get lots of detail in the dog's face, like if you wanted to make sure you got, all the little furs and stuff, you could even just open up just a little bit and still get a slightly faster shutter speed, right?
Right, and that's actually something else that's in my notes. So if it is a cloudy day, if it is fairly dark, why isn't the aperture more open? It was f8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if it was at 5.6,
you would still get that.
Yeah, you're automatically going from 1/80th of a second to about a 300th of a second. And that's just by opening the aperture without even touching the ISO. So, excellent point, Navi.
And like at a focal length of 60, you really wouldn't be losing a whole lot for background focus. You would still get probably, and you'd probably still get his head. Right? Maybe the nose might be a tiny bit soft, but this is what you want. You want to see his sad, maybe happy little puppy eyes. Whatever he wants out, or a bone or a snack or something.
And the nice thing about a dog like this is the eyes are very defined. You know, there is a lot of contrast there, so it'd be easy to focus, or easier to focus on eyes like that. Where, again, Dixie has black all around her eyes, and her eyes are, you know, black when they're closed. So it's impossible to focus on that. What were you going to say there, Navi?
I was going to say I like the his little color dots on his face there.
So pretty. Now, other than that, compositionally, if it had been tack sharp, I like it actually centered the way it is.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of people who would fight that whole don't shoot center's deadly type of thing, but I think for a picture like this where, you know, the dog's driving past and you're just grabbing the shot, I think keeping it right where it is great. If it was too far to the left or right, I don't know how that would really change anything in a positive way.
I think like center shots usually work if there's not really anything, you know, sort of distracting on the sides. Like it's sort of even, I guess.
Yeah, it's not leading one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle, love the expression on this dog's face. Very cute.
You know what I mean?
And, of course, thank you, Jordan, for submitting your photo for the challenge. That's awesome that you were doing that. Thank you so much. All right, Robert, let's take a look at the Oreo. Oh, Navi has an Oreo story.
Oh.
Oh, Oreo.
Interesting story. Basically, I hadn't eaten an Oreo in about 5 years, and then the other day, just before Robert posted this, I had a craving for it. So I bought a box of it, and then I ate like 5 or 6 while at work, just in one go, and it was so awesome at the time. It tasted so good, and about 20 minutes later, I was regretting that idea.
You knew you'd be paying for that, too.
I know, but it was just so delicious. They're so small now. So, you know, you're like, oh, I'm only eating 2 or 3. And, like, I would never eat more than 2 cookies, like chocolate chip cookies or whatever, in one sitting. Maybe 1.5. So never mind 5.
Yeah, but Oreos are so addictive.
I guess. So, yeah, it was so funny that Robert posted this.
Are they actually smaller now than they used to be?
I don't know. Maybe I have larger hands. Maybe I've grown up since I was
That's got to be it.
15 or so, or 12.
So let's talk about the picture a bit. It is a great shot. It definitely makes me want to have an Oreo. Although, like you, I have an Oreo story. Last time I tried to help the Sweet Shelly's Kitchen by, you know, liquidating some soon-to-be expired stock. 5 cookies. That was lightweight, dude. I finished a whole row and a half in one sitting.
Gross.
Oh yeah, I was not right.
How many in a row? Are there 10?
I don't know, something like that.
My box
but it was not good.
On, so I can't go count it.
It was pretty gross. Now I thought about the neon green, and Robert actually came in the store and he says that's the color of it. Now I believe that it was green. They're mint Oreos. That's fine, but it's still like a neon glow to it. So I'm just thinking that potentially that was caused again by a clarity tool potentially being pushed a little hard, or a little extra contrast being added. I may be wrong on that. I don't know, but possibly using the highlight slider and just kind of pulling that down a little bit might tone down that glow, because you can see the edges are brighter than the center, or the center I should say is brighter than the edges, and there's almost like a yellow chromatic aberration kind of a look going on there.
I just laughed at Michelle's message. I feel so much better. Thank you, Michelle. She said that Oreos are smaller than cookies. So 5 Oreos equals 2.5 cookies. I'm all right with that. That's cool with me.
I'm doomed. So if I usually eat 5 Sweet Shelly's cookies, does that mean I have to eat
a box
50? A box of them? Oh, good God. No thanks.
I love this photo for the theme. I thought it was perfect for it. And the sharpness, you know, of the cookie, and you really.
Sorry, I'm eating a St. Patrick's Day milkshake from McDonald's.
Is it fluorescent green?
It's green. I can't tilt it too much, or else it'll pour on my.
Why are they still doing St. Patrick's Day? That's long over.
I don't know, but they're limited time, and I guess my time is getting very limited. But no, I love the shot, and I actually like the texture of the cloth that it's on.
Yeah, right down there.
I think that really helps. It kind of matches with the texture of the cookie.
Yeah, I love that you can see everything. Now, we were talking about this earlier. How do you feel about the F-18?
Yeah, well, it's a tough answer, and I agree with you in the point that you don't want to close your aperture down too much or open it up too much. There's a sweet spot in the center part of a lens. That is the macro lens, and that macro can close the aperture down, I believe, down to about f39. So f18 isn't really pushing it, although I think I'm with you on this, Navi. I think I probably wouldn't have pushed it much beyond f16, f11.
Right, because in certain lenses you start to get distortion, and sort of image. You're not really. You think you're getting that super sharp all the way through, but you're actually introducing the distortion or degrading of your image.
Yeah.
Hence the sweet spot. So depending on what lens it is, could be f8, f11, f12, or whatever. So it's kind of different for a lot of lenses.
I think a neat exercise for people is to just take any lens you own and set up a situation, set up a scene in front of you, and just shoot at all different apertures. And then review those photos for sharpness and detail and the edges, the sides, and so on, and see if you can really see where it starts to break up.
Right.
And then that'll help you understand how far you can push it or not.
I'd actually like to know, if Robert's watching, if flash was used in this. I'll throw a buzz in here.
That was Gabriel beeping in.
Yeah, if there was any flash used in this, the detail, because it's very sharp. Like you can see all the little curves and crevices.
Just getting an update from Gabriel, everybody, in case you're wondering what all this beeping and blinking is and us losing focus. So, okay, so he's going to be coming in hopefully shortly, and he'll probably make it in about 2 minutes before we end the show. What do you think?
You'll be like, and thanks for watching. See you guys next
and
week.
We're done. All right, so yeah, if Robert, you're watching, maybe you can let us know if you used any flash or any extra lighting for this image. What was the shutter speed here, Navi?
1/25.
Okay, so he's obviously not doing light painting or anything like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would imagine so, because if you're at 1/25 and f18, that's going to be pretty dark unless you have some sort of direct light.
Yeah, I'd say there was flash used.
Yeah. Good composition, though. I like that.
Absolutely. All right, very cool. Let's move along. Now we're going to get to some Rhonda's photos.
Tiny little toe.
Okay. Now, again, babies. Now, if on the other hand the toes spelled out Daytripper, that'd be very cool. I think I'd get into that with the baby feet. But yeah. So this isn't my thing. So I don't necessarily get the rings on baby toes. Can you explain that to me?
I think Rhonda wrote that the rings are in between the toes, right? That's.
Is the baby getting married?
These wedding rings are in between the new baby's toes. It's probably the parents' rings.
Okay.
I get it.
I'm there. I get it. I'm starting to get it. Okay, so here's my thoughts on this photo. This is a detail shot, right?
Right.
It's not a whole baby picture. It's pictures of the baby's feet. It's a detail. So when you're shooting detail shots, you should really pay extremely close attention to all the details. For example, I'm feeling ticklish looking at this picture. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, right down a little bit lower. There's that little bit of a fur.
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go. That's kind of brushing up against the baby's foot. Now, I'm in the back of my mind. It's irritating me a little bit. The rings belong to the parents. Gotcha. Thanks, Rhonda. It's kind of irritating me a little bit. Yeah, my feet are feeling ticklish because I'm starting to think, like, I put myself in the position of the baby, right? Is the baby comfortable? Is the baby happy? The baby's probably either laughing or not noticing it at this point. So that's one thing.
I think that's a good point, though, that you made about it being a detail shot. When you're doing the shots, you really do have to be aware of, everything in the frame.
Right.
And what you're trying to sort of have as the main subject. In this case, I didn't really notice this, what you pointed out, but I did notice this. It's a tiny little hair. Like, this is like being picky, right? But this is there. And again, the rings are nice and super sharp and all that stuff because you can see all the even little scuffs in the ring. That's cool. But this kind of stuff, if you have Lightroom, you can probably quickly clean that up with the heal tool, if that's what you're going for, right? If you want a nice clean shot, focusing on the rings as well as like the feet.
Right. Now, how do you feel? Again, we've talked about contrast differences, drawing eyes away from images. How do you feel about the black shadows in the fingers in the background to the rear right?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you find that's distracting, or is that? See, again, I'm not familiar with baby photo etiquette. I'm not savvy on that, so I'm not trying to give my opinion based on that. I'm just looking at technical points, right?
Actually, you know what? For that kind of thing, I didn't really notice it until you pointed out because it's much softer, and there is a lot of detail to look at here, and there's sort of like a frame here, right? That my eye is kind of kept in this little circle.
Gotcha.
Right, so the feet are sort of framing the thing, and then you have the little carpet thing framing the feet. So I honestly didn't even see that until 2 seconds ago.
Well, I think what really does work well for this is that white vignette, the reverse vignette.
Right.
A lot of times people will say that they're not a big fan of the white or the reverse vignette, and I like that. I like it in this photo. I think it actually works well.
Yeah. I think you have to just be subtle with it. Either way, like white or black vignette, you really have to be subtle with the use of it, or else it just looks like a big giant black or white circle around a face.
Exactly. Okay, so here Rhonda says you have to work very quickly with a 5-week-old baby, and they are very restless, and that is so understandable. I get that, and you don't have time to pay attention to all the little details. I've got a trick for you though, Rhonda, and you're welcome to use this, and there may be a disclaimer after I say this, but there's all kinds of different chemicals you could use. It'll calm her right down.
No, there's a better way of going about that. Just maybe not doing
I hope so.
Waiting until they're sleeping. How about? You can avoid all of that.
There you go. And no charges for child abuse.
Yes, much safer.
Much safer. I'm just going by what my mom did,
Well, that explains a lot.
It does, doesn't it? I should talk to her about that. Maybe that's true. All right. All right. Thank you, Rhonda, for submitting the shot. It's a really interesting photo. And again, I don't want to, I'm certainly not saying a negative. I'm not savvy on that type of photography. And, those are just technical points that I thought of. All right. So I
think the black and white work too.
I agree with that.
Because if it was color, there would probably be a lot of stuff happening in it. That the black and white, it brings the focus in to where it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the parents would be too happy with that either, Rhonda. I think you went about it the right way, actually. Don't listen to my opinions when it comes to
Brian's, like,
no.
Child.
When it comes to dealing with children, no, just don't listen to me. Okay, so here's another one from Rhonda. This is another in between 3 generations. Awesome. I love these types of photos. It's a really great multi-generational photo. Thanks for the suggestions. You're very welcome. And we're not done yet, so stay tuned. I'm sure the families actually would really look back on this and love this photo. Absolutely. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep. And good use of application of the theme to this.
Yes.
It's not so in your face. It's just it works for it, but it kind of makes you think about it too.
I agree. Now, I also like the lighting in this. There's no harsh shadow. There's shadow, but it's not harsh, so it's not distracting. It's just enough to give you depth and some sort of feel to it.
Yep.
My only thought is that the vignette. Now, you mentioned in the previous photo how the vignette was nice and subtle. Here, it's a little bit sharper, and you can see how it actually gives you that contrast difference.
Right.
So I find this one here is actually pushing my eyes into the photo rather than letting it wander in the photo.
Yeah, I think for this, I don't know if Rhonda has Lightroom or which version, but if you want to, because the purpose of a vignette is sort of to bring your attention, your eye to something, within the photo. Lightroom 5 actually has, what's it called? What do you call that? I guess it's the vignette tool, where you can place it in, it doesn't always have to be just the outside corners, where you can sort of place it here and you can soften it. You can still get the focus here, but you're not going to get these harsh corners as much. I mean, you can adjust that if you wanted to, but it's a little more, I guess, what's the word?
Malleable.
Sure.
You can manipulate it differently. You can soften it and feather it.
Yeah.
Lightroom 5, yes, that is what she uses.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's a. When they first came up with this tool, I didn't think I would use it, but I actually use it quite a bit, and it works really well for this kind of, if you're trying to bring attention to sort of just the faces, whatever, instead of having to do a vignette on the entire photo, you can sort of.
Is that the radial blur?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The radial blur tool.
Radial filter. That's it.
Radial filter.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do a little tutorial on that in a future week.
So it's
cool.
But it's that's nice in Lightroom. You can adjust sort of the intensity of everything.
I do like, though, that it's not super sharp focus. It's in focus. The focus is perfect. It's in focus. I'm not saying it's not, but it's got a bit of a soft focus effect to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that for a portrait. It's not too sharp. It's not too like a lot of people don't like having a sharp focus on a face, right? Especially when we're talking about different generations of people.
Right.
And using the softer focus, I think, was a really, really nice touch. Mm-hmm. And yes, she does use the vignette tool in Lightroom.
Well, there's two things. There's the vignette and there's the radial filter. So the vignette is sort of at the bottom of the. Hold on, maybe I can do a. Hold on, let me do this. So I can show people what I'm talking about here.
Cool.
Okay, so
there's Callie.
I was working on the photo. So there's the vignette here, right?
Now we just see the window. We don't see your tools. Just so you know.
Oh.
So just share a different window.
Okay. I want to just do.
Your main window, window 1. There you go. Hi.
Right. So there's this here, the post-crop vignetting tool, right? And then the other thing we were talking about was this, which is the radial filter. This you can sort of choose.
Your mouse is right at the top now.
Yeah, there we go. You see that? The radial filter tool. So this is you have a little more control of where, your vignette will be. So let's say I just want a little bit on her face. You can adjust the exposure. Now there's a lot of shadow on the right side, but this sort of is a little more subtle, I think. Maybe not on this picture, but it's not as dramatic as this.
Right.
The difference?
Yep.
Right.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, and you can kind of move it wherever you want, so it doesn't necessarily have to be, on the entire picture. Let's say you want to just sort of emphasize the person.
And you can adjust the feather on that as well, so it's not.
Yeah, you can adjust everything. So you can do highlights, you can do contrast, shadow, as opposed to just making a dark or light border. Right. So it's super, super handy tool.
Very cool. Right. And Rhonda says she's going to give that a shot. Awesome.
Move back to the photos. Yeah.
You're getting pretty good at that screen share thing there, Navi. Well done. All right, so moving along, we have one more shot. Okay, now I like this photo.
It's so cute.
It is very cute, and it goes back to what I was saying before. When I see a picture of a baby, I try and put myself in the baby's position. Would I be comfortable? Would I enjoy that? If I looked back when I was older and saw that my mother had put me in a basket full of teddy bears, I'd be fine with that. I think that's really cool.
So soft and cuddly. Good focus. Everything sharp. I like it. It looks really nice and cute.
The colors are also very nice and complementary. White balance on the skin isn't overdone, so it doesn't look like a fake baby, right? Sometimes they get very over pink with white balance issues.
Right.
I do have one recommendation on this shot, and that's a simple crop. If you can put your mouse on the right side where that last kind of beigeish teddy bear meets the, right there. If you were to crop it about there, just take that side away.
Oh, I can't control it anymore.
I know, it's like so touchy in that. That kind of a deal, yeah, just about there. Now that little lip of white along the right side is gone, and it's keeping you on to the baby a little bit more. What do you think? Do you think that you shouldn't do that, or?
Yeah, okay, I like that. I do like that. Because this isn't really doing anything for us, and just kind of puts the baby in the middle, whereas you just go even a tiny bit like
just
that.
a tiny bit.
Yeah. Yep.
You're not losing anything. You're not emitting anything from the story. The story is not being changed. And I think keeping that on the side, it doesn't need to be there. And you know how they say in composition, if it doesn't need to be there, don't have it there.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. That looks good.
Cool. I love the shot, though. And absolutely thank you so much for submitting that. And one last baby shot. Okay, Navi, you're going to have to take this one.
I think it's funny.
Again,
I love baby hands and feet. I think that's the cutest thing, like the little dimples and the knuckles. I love that. I'm not a baby photographer, so again, I don't really know how it works. Other than just keep shooting. Wait a minute.
You don't know how what works?
Where babies come from? I thought it came from a pelican. Remember?
Pelican.
I've been waiting for that baby from the pelican for years. It never showed up.
That's because it's from a stork.
They don't come from pelicans. They come from what? Storks?
Storks.
Better lie this whole time.
I know. This is maybe why I haven't had a kid, because I actually believe they come from storks. That's very strange.
At least you had the right bird.
All right, so the shot is interesting. Again, and go back to that whole, would I be comfortable in this position? Probably not. I don't think, if I saw my mom made me do this, I'd probably be like, Mom, really? You made me do that? But realistically, it's a cute picture. I mean, I trust Rhonda. I know Rhonda well enough to know she's not going to make a baby uncomfortable. Trust me, I get that. But sorry, what were you going to say?
See the last shot, like this little edge of his leg here.
Yeah.
You probably, just let me do that more subtly here. Just do without it, just for this shot, because it's not really doing anything for us. Right?
Yeah, storks, Michelle. That's where babies come from.
Apparently, I thought it was a pelican.
No, it's not. It's definitely not a pelican.
I knew it was a stork, but remember we were talking earlier today. I was like, "Oh, pelican. That's where babies come from." You're like, yes. What?
I do remember that. Well, it wasn't today, but I do remember it.
Video, remember?
No, I agree with you on this crop. I think the legs being in the shot, he's saying it's almost like a revealing. Like when you see those rappers and their pants are down a little bit low, and you see that little V thing because they're so strong and they're trying to show the world how attractive their crotch is. I have to go there. I don't know why I go places, but I do.
Anyway, good shot, Rhonda.
Yeah, other than that, the only other thought I have is it's a bit dark. Does it look a bit dark on your screen, or is that just my screen?
Maybe half a stop brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then the white of the blanket underneath would pop a little bit more, and the white in the hat would pop a little bit more.
Other than that, the thing is with babies, you can't control what sort of expression. You're gonna basically just hope for the best.
Yeah, it's just what Rhonda's saying now. He was getting tired at this point. Yeah. The rest of the time he was happy, and then, that happens. Baby pictures. Rhonda, do you do a lot of baby portraits, or is this something you're trying to get more into? I don't know about you. It would be a little bit frustrating for me. My cat is about all I want to get into for me, and wrestlers, that's about what I'll shoot. Julie says, the cropping in makes a big difference on great photos, Rhonda. It's amazing. It's a slight little crop, but just a little bit of a detail that's not in the shot can make such a huge impact of a photo.
Just a tiny bit there.
There you are.
Little crying baby. I came from a pelican.
They came from a pelican.
Oh, dear.
This is not Finding Nemo, okay? All right, so let's, okay, you're going to go to Julie's first?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, sorry, was there another one? Did I miss one?
Yeah, Tammy's was in between there.
Where? Oh, sorry.
Oh, this is the first one that Rhonda has shot, the first baby shoot. For your first shot, Rhonda, awesome. Very, very good. And any critiques we gave are minor, and keep it up. Keep it up. You're doing very well. Tammy's photo. Okay, now this is... I really have to say, like, I've known Tammy for a while. She was on one of our first Algonquin trips. Um, she kind of backed out of sharing photos for a while. Life happens. And now that you're sharing again and you're getting into all this technical, like HDR and focus stacking and so on, I am so impressed with your processing. This is HDR. This is a focus stack.
It is.
Yeah, and yet there's no signs of over-processing at all.
I thought it was a straight-up shot.
Me too. And it's interesting. Last night at the Newmarket Camera Club meeting, Cheryl brought up a point where when I saw a photo that actually I believe it was Julie's photo. Julie, who's watching right now, the macro photo of the iris, the water droplets on there. I suggested that it was a little bit over-processed because those water droplets looked a little over-sharpened. And it was a focus stack, somebody said. And I said, okay, well, that doesn't excuse the fact that it could potentially be a little bit over-processed. Just because it's a focus stack doesn't mean it has to be process-looking, right? When you look at Don Komarechka with the snowflake photos, I mean, you can't see that it's being over-processed. So I made the point that, maybe it didn't need to be as processed. Sorry, Julie. However, and by the way, Julie, there will be the full critique on your photo on the Newmarket Camera Club community through Google+. Ross, I'm sure we'll post that shortly. But on this, I can't see that. Can you see any of that?
No. Like I said, I thought it was like just, a one-shot deal kind of thing.
I'd like to know how long it took Tammy to actually make this shot because it's a really neat. Now, okay, first of all, it's an interesting twist to the theme.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Like, I caught my attention right away. I was like, cool, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
But so good. Did she say how many shots it is? Oh, it's your macro from 9 exposures. Gotcha.
Yeah, right. So it's between 3 and 9 is the name of the photo. Obviously, gears of a clock.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know why she chose to HDR. I understand the focus stack because she's using a macro, but to choose the HDR, was it an exposure thing or was it just trying a technique thing? You know what I mean, Navi?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to try a technique just to get some experience in with it.
Maybe it was she wanted to show as much detail as possible. Because I guess it depends how she lit it too, right?
Mm-hmm. It's excellent. The white is white. The texture's there everywhere. The sharpness is there. It's not over-processed. Well done.
Very well done.
Composition's good.
Oops.
Yeah.
Or I thought you were done.
No, I'm done. Okay. I'm just happy. I think it's really kind of neat. Okay, and one photo left. And you know what? We're just about at the right time to talk about the last photo. Very cool. Julie's photo. Now, this is a completely different twist again.
Yes.
Texture
so
is
good.
Beautiful.
As
the
Jimmy
shadow.
So good, my man. So good.
Yeah, but she's a girl, so.
I know, but that's what Jimmy Fallon says. He says it to everybody.
Does he?
Apparently.
He calls women guy? That's
I don't know. He's crazy.
He's so cray. Okay, so first of all, Julie, I'm so happy that you switched to the Canon L.
Oh. Hello, Brian. All right, so I'm not sure what Brian.
Macro lens. Ooh, been trying HDR
cut out.
On the D7. What?
We didn't get anything you said.
Okay, am I back?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Tammy is answering from Winnipeg. She says that she has been trying HDR. On the D750, you have to do it in auto exposure bracketing, and she forgot to take it off. But then she actually really liked it.
Worked out.
I do too. Very cool. Thanks, Tammy, for answering. And watching from Winnipeg, come on, that's so cool. I've never been to Winnipeg. I want to go there. Okay, so back to Julie's photo here. Again, I'm so happy that you switched to the Canon L series. The sharpness is through the roof. Your focus is really awesome.
Oh, I can't zoom in. Oh, there you go. Whoa, that's a dog. Hold on. It also morphs into a dog. There we go.
That's very funky little rods.
I can zoom in on this one. But I don't know if you can see or people can see, but the detail that you can see right there, you can see all the little fibers of the sticks. Yeah, I love it so much. I love the contrast in the shadow and light with the sticks. It's so good.
I agree, and that's actually exactly my point. It's the striations in the metal, the detail in the shadows. Compositionally, it's really interesting as well. I mean, you've got the rule of thirds happening. You've got leading lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. and the brightest parts of those rods are the leading lines. I think that's brilliant. I'd like, Julie, I want to know how you did this.
This little piece of fiber, though, I know this is me being picky again, but this would drive me insane, and this was my photo. Other than that, I love it.
And I think for the fiber removal, I would prefer to do that in post than to try and knock all the little pieces over.
This looks like it's because there's not a whole ton of color. Well, there's no color really. The shades that you can easily take this out, just so it's not as distracting. But everything else is great.
And I know Julie is awesome with Photoshop and editing, so I'm sure that wouldn't be any issue. Now you are watching, Julie. Awesome, and I'm glad you switched. Awesome. Question though, what lighting did you use for this? Was this a flash? I mean, it's very harsh shadow, so I'm assuming it's probably flash. And the ever-ending question, how many takes did it take for you to make the one shot? Took one. Very cool.
The lighting.
Anything else? Yeah, lighting is great. Anything else to add though?
No, I love that lens too, Julie. It's one of my favorite lenses actually.
The Canon L series lens is like the Nikon 105 VR. It's just, you don't compromise. That's just the lens you get.
Yeah. I'll let you point.
Uh-oh.
It bothers me too. Sorry.
Yeah, Julie says that the fiber is bothering her now too.
That's the thing with the macro lens, though. You don't see these things until you have it on your computer, because it picks up so much detail that you can't really see it through the viewfinder until you load up on your 24-inch or 27-inch screen. You're like, God, this tiny little thing. But again, for something that's delicate, you probably wouldn't have wanted to, grab it with your fingers. If anything, you'd be using tweezers.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could even see this, during that time. So, but I mean, again, it's not a huge thing to remove, so you can do that in a jiffy.
I agree. Okay, well, that's pretty much it for the photo review. If anybody has any questions or thoughts for us, please feel free to get in touch with us now. We have just a couple more minutes before we sign out of here. And in the meantime, like I say, tap into our conversation in the Q&A. Let us know what you're thinking if you have anything to add. If you don't, yes. Navi?
Okay.
I'm cool with that. Okay, so Julie says she took a series of shots from different angles. The flash was lying on the table, and I kept moving it around with each shot. Working the scene, as Scott Kelby would say, working the scene. You have your stuff, moving the flash all around, trying to make it happen. Awesome. Yeah, but Julie, you're kind of known for that. You work the scene. You make a photo the way you want to make it. And I love that about your photography. Okay, so a reminder to everybody watching, if you're watching us after the fact on YouTube, please click like, subscribe, and share it to or your friends. Like our channel, share it to your friends. Next week's photo contest. If everybody's ready, you got your notepads out. We have, not next week, sorry, the next 2 weeks. Remember, next week is our topic show. And actually, it's interesting, the topic that we're going to have, it's going to be home studio for product photography on the cheap. This is something that Gabriel recommended that we do, and unfortunately it doesn't look like Gabriel's going to make it into the show tonight, which is too bad on two levels. One, because that means he's still laboring away in his bathroom, and two, because I miss the guy. He's awesome.
Weird. Laboring away at the in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's probably not too good. Anyway, working at building a shower in his bathroom. Get a little more specific. So yeah, home studio for product photography on the cheap is our show next week.
I call it budget home studio. I'm typing it out so people can check in later and know.
Oh, you're already posting it.
I'm in the middle of it.
That's how you do it.
Budget
And if you didn't,
studio, I'm gonna call that one. Okay.
What are you gonna call it?
Budget home studio.
Budget home studio. Cool. It's going to be a fun show, and there'll be lots of tips on things that you can do to create this little studio for home. And in that vein, our photo challenge themes, and remember, we have an essentials theme, and then we have a challenge theme. So the essentials theme will be sweet. Right, Navi?
Yes.
How would you say that?
Sweet. I'm typing it as a regular sweet spelling because it's just easier.
Fair enough. Okay. And the second challenge, which would be the more challenging of the challenges, is going to be for sale.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Budget home studio is the topic for next week's show. I'm sorry.
Yes.
My bad.
That's the topic for the show. And the photo challenges, which are a 2-week challenge, are sweet and for sale.
For sale. Bam.
That wasn't what I wanted. Anyway, that's pretty much it for us tonight, guys. Navi, anything else to add before we say goodbye?
Yeah, we need a winner for this week's photo challenge.
Yeah. Where was I born? The moon? Okay, yes, we do have a winner. In fact, we have a tie for the winner this week. So that means each of you are going to win this cool lens and tablet cleaner from LensPen, if you don't already have one. They're very cool. And remember, these are actually really handy when we're talking about a portable light box or studio environment or that kind of thing on the cheap. The best tool you can have is the LensPen, because you can actually pull this little lever right here down, puts a brush out the back end, and you can brush off all the dust and all the lint or anything like that that's in your shot. So for those really close-up macro photos, the back of a LensPen is one of your favorite tools you could possibly use. Those hairs don't come out, so it actually works properly. Okay, so the winners for this week's photo challenge, and since Navi has the window open, I'll share that. Drum roll, please. It's a tie, and the tie goes to Julie and to Tammy. There's Tammy's photo. Well done. Yay. And to Julie's photo. And it was originally going to be Tammy's, but the more we looked at Julie's and the striations... Why am I doing that again? Sorry. The more we looked at Julie's and the striations and the texture and the shadows and so on, it just drew us right back in again. So
good.
What's that?
They couldn't decide. They were both very good.
They were both very good. So thank you to everybody who submitted to our photo challenge this week and every week. And we're going to leave everybody with a quote, like we sometimes like to do. And this week's quote is from a little-known photographer from the 30s and 40s named Ansel Adams. He says, "A true photograph need not be explained, nor can it be contained in words." There you go. Now, we will give our opinions, we'll give critiques, and we'll give places that we think you might be able to improve, but ultimately, a true photograph need not be explained, nor can it be contained in words. And this is from my #1 favorite photographer of all time, Ansel Adams, the man.
So submit photos, because I think it's important for people to have someone else view their images, like non-biased, right? Because it's very easy to be looking at your stuff and critiquing your stuff as well, but I think it's really important to have someone else outside of, your circle to be objectively, I guess as much as possible, viewing your photos and critiquing it. Because if you just show it to, your Facebook friends who will love everything you post, then you're not really going to grow as a photographer.
Absolutely. Well said. Very well said. Oh, Navi, I forgot to mention, you've got a new job that you're looking to see if anybody needs to hire you for.
I am?
What's that called? The professional...
Oh, yes. If you need someone to photograph your adventures, I'm the person to call. My official title is Personal Adventure Documentarian.
There you go.
So if you are tired of being, the person behind the camera on your beautiful vacations to Bora Bora, you want to be in the photos with your family, I'm the person to call. So, and I'll
That's
document
awesome.
how much fun we're all having. So,
and all it costs is $500
plus travel fee and accommodations.
plus travel fee and accommodations. There you go.
But
Very
I like
cool.
time and memories, and I'm a fun person. So,
you are a good person to travel with.
and if you have, if your spouse or whoever you're with doesn't like gear talk, you can talk gear nerd talk to me all day.
That is such a bonus for photographers. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And just to remind everybody, on April 12th, Daytripper Photo is holding our next low light action session, and this is at it's actually wrestling photography. We're teaching how to shoot in very low light and get a fast motion and nice sharpness and blur where you want it. And we're actually doing this at Battle Arts Academy in Mississauga. Battle Arts is co-owned by Santino Marella. Santino is a WWE superstar, a former WWE superstar with just huge personality. The guy is just so funny. His real name is Anthony Sorella. Super cool guy. No accent in any way, shape, or form in real life, although he's super Italian. as his wrestling character. So that's what we're going to be talking about: how to tell a story, how to shoot sharpness and motion in the same photo, how to really create interesting effects in a low light action situation. These are things you can use for hockey, swimming, basketball, volleyball, you name it, even just kind of hanging out with people at a bar somewhere, concert photography. All of these things share very similar knowledge sets. And these are all things that we're going to be talking about on April 12th. It's only $100 for this session. It's one of our cheapest sessions of the year, and it's just a really cool place, Battle Arts. Look it up. Also, if you are interested in shooting fireworks, I don't mean shooting them, I mean shooting them. On June the 30th, Daytripper Photo is holding one of our biggest undertakings that we've ever had, and this is a legit pro fireworks display timed specifically for photography. So, are you focused? No? Okay, hang on a second. Fireworks will wait. As soon as you're ready to take your shot, we two-way radio the fireworks guys. They launch the firework, and we can make the photo. We're going to teach you how to focus. We're going to teach you how to expose. We're going to teach you the hat trick. We're going to teach you zoom blur. We're going to teach you focus blur. All kinds of really cool things. And guess what? It's a party, yo. Yeah, I'll never do that again. Barbecue. Yes, we're having the actual Daytripper Photo Summer Barbecue. And I'm not going to tell anybody that's 2 days after my actual birthday. And I won't tell anybody that, of course, because I don't want to draw attention that it's my birthday or anything.
I'm bringing a pelican.
Bring a pelican?
Happy birthday! Here's your baby pelican.
I got a pelican with a baby in its beak, and it's gross and slimy for some reason. Anyway, so yeah, June 30th, guys, check that out. It's the day before Canada Day. You're going to learn how to make these amazing photos with real, legit, professional-grade fireworks. They're even going to give us a behind-the-scenes on how the fireworks are launched and how they're loaded. And you're going to hold the mortar shells and the whole thing. It's going to be super cool. Have a huge barbecue. Shelly, my wife, is going to be barbecuing, and maybe even have some cookies there, because you know Sweet Shelly's cookies are the best ever. So please check that out. It's all on daytripperphoto.com, which should be right there, but my marketing skills absolutely suck today. So www.daytripperphoto.com. Okay, anything else to say before we say goodnight, Navi?
Yes, well, at the barbecue, make sure you leave 2.5 cookies for me.
and not Oreos.
That's it.
Done with the Oreos. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Gabriel, sorry you couldn't make it tonight, man. We'll see you next week. And that's it. Take care, everybody. Don't forget the photo challenges for sale. And sweet!
It's posted up there, so if you forget, it's there.
Cool. Thanks, Navi.
All right.
Thanks for being on tonight, and great show. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
See you next week.